Welcome back to Got No Control podcast. I am your host, RONEK. And before I introduce my special guest today, I just want to let you guys know to make sure to check out gotnocontrol.com. Check out our official merchandise. Grab yourself a t-shirt, a hoodie, much more. Also, we just dropped our official collaboration with New Era Fitted Cap. Here's our Got No Control New Era Fitted Cap. Super dope. Great quality. Make sure to check that out. And with that being said, I want to introduce my special guest today, Rich. How you doing today, brother?
How's it going, sir?
Thank you for stopping by, man. I'm glad to have you.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, man. It's a good day today. Weather's great. So let's jump into this.
Okay.
You know, earlier today, I was watching something that had me a little spectacle. Like I was thinking about it, right? Because the AI situation has been a very verbal topic in the culture, right? So I'm curious though, because people are not for AI.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to notice that most flyers for events that are coming up are AI generated.
Correct.
So I'm just kind of how do I balance that out as far as the viewer just watching this? How do you feel about that stuff?
How do I feel? You're right. It is kind of tough. It is kind of tough. Only for the fact that, say, even for the culture, for graph culture, it's the objective is to get up. The objective is to do it, you know, physically, and then kind of see it. And to show and prove it is you can document it on film, and you can kind of see that. I think also what's been happening is, in my opinion, with AI is it's making non-creatives creative.
I agree.
And they think that, for them to able to just prompt whatever it is, that now they think they're designers. But the disadvantage already is it already has a kind of a look.
You're right, because I could definitely see a flyer and be like, no, that's AI. You get that right away.
Exactly. I mean, it's even getting to now all these posts and reels and stories. You're just like, come on. You
don't even know what's real now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it gets you at first sometimes. You're just like, what? Oh.
I was just watching the AI clip of Michael Jackson and Tupac making a song.
Yeah.
And for a second, I thought it was real.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, it's AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess for me, I'm just trying to balance it out as far as watching it. Because I know guys would be like, screw that. F AI. I will never touch that, do that.
Yeah.
But then you have a flyer for an event that was chat GPT type thing.
Right.
So I'm just kind of I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to balance it out.
No, I think if you can eventually use it as a tool, yes. But if you're having it do shit for you, that's the problem. And I don't think people even realize that will just de-evolutionize you, man. It's now it's all doing all the work for you, and it knows all the information anyways.
Yeah.
So you can just say one little thing and it'll do it. But is it you? No.
Imagine getting to a point where you don't even have to go get up no more. AI does it for you.
That's the sad part. That's the thing. Yeah, for me, it's what I trip out on is how people don't see the bigger picture. How they don't see that if AI takes over, AI isn't a consumer. And then if AI is taking over our jobs, we won't have money to be consumers. Yeah. So who the fuck is gonna buy? AI?
Is it be like Ghost Town?
That's the point.
You got the product but no consumer.
And these AI bots are just gonna keep making shit, but then who's gonna buy it?
You're right. I agree 100%, man.
So I think that's just it. I think even in graph, in that culture, it's that's the whole thing. It's underground. It's this and that. It was our way to do our marketing, to do our our branding, to do all that kind of stuff. And better yet, if you were to be all city, fuck, that's even better. Now you're in every borough or every city and representing. The disadvantage on that is, for other people, that's their hood, Yeah. But for us, it's just what we're trying to be is recognized around, hopefully, the world,
What keeps that spark lit in you to still produce graffiti?
To be honest, that's what really got me to be to get into art and be creative. In my early days, my dad was drawing, my brothers were drawing, and they were dope as fuck. But then it was their kind of style of just, comic book characters or little war pictures or those kind of things. And then for me, it was just that's cool, but it wasn't me. Like I didn't feel that. Then when hip hop came and that culture, and then finding out all those 5 elements, and then for us to try to do them all,
MC, B-boy, rap.
all of it, like simultaneously,
Yeah.
literally. But then you start finding yourself and get good at certain things. So on the graph side, that's when I finally like it was weird because it's you as a creative or someone into art should already thought that. Like being, oh, I just want to do some creative stuff or whatever. But then when it came to graph, it was like, fuck, I want to do creative stuff, but it's dope. Is now I'm manipulating these letters. Now I'm like, now I can make a character look like whatever, or this and that. Or, I can get influence from, what's out there in the world and then freak it from there, It became a crazy different perspective for me of seeing shit.
In my opinion, I feel like not many understand how much hip hop had an impact in graffiti itself, right? Like the graffiti style hip hop that we now recognize.
Right.
How was it being a kid growing up, not knowing hip hop because it wasn't there yet? And then, boom, next day, what is this?
Yeah.
Let me check it out.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you?
Like I said earlier, it's just like that really opened my mind because again, it was something new and something different. And I think the biggest part of it was like it really helped you have individualism, you
Mhm.
know? And then I think for that's what I think was dope. It was like that rebellion, it was that all that shit that was in it. And then again, there's different ways you can go. You can be that super rebel and be a vandal, or you can be that super graph artist and want to do dope art and put it around everywhere, whether it be illegal or legal. So I think that's what was the coolest part for me is like a little bit of the rebellion, a little bit of like the um, uh, anti-corporate,
Yeah.
all that shit. And something new and different. Something that was way ahead of the curve for them. And then look what happened after that. They kept catching up. They started doing it on Sprite commercials and all this and that
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So it's like they want to handle that culture, but then they'll never be able to get it because it's street code, it's street ethics. It's what we know.
And I
from
feel
the
without
street.
the street element, it's not authentic.
It's not authentic.
You can't really feel it.
I mean, even look at what happened when it was on the East Coast. How did all that stuff started meshing? Because there was so much of this subculture stuff going on. Punk, new wave, disco was dying. Then there was a transition into house, but then somehow all of that was just intermingling within each other. And even though they were separate, but then to that point, like it created that diversity.
Where was Young Rich at the very first time you heard your first hip hop song? And what song was it?
Ah, shit. Man, you got me on that. You know what? It was probably Buffalo Gals because I really love. I mean, there was probably stuff before that, but that was the true authenticity for me. Like seeing that and then seeing the style, seeing all that kind of stuff to me was just like, whoa,
Yeah.
like that's hip hop, because the graffiti element was in the background. Everything was already involved in that. So for you to understand hip hop,
Gotcha.
so.
What part of the world is home to Rich? What do you call home?
You got some good questions. I mean, home is here. I mean, I've always been here in Cali, so I guess that's an answer.
Is there a certain part of LA? Because like for me, you look at where I'm from, they like it's kind of LA, not LA.
Yeah.
But is that something for you, or are you like LA based?
Nah, I don't think a location matters to me,
Okay.
to be honest. I think more of like, I'm more on like what we as individuals do in
Yeah.
life. You know what I mean? So like like say on that perspective, maybe I should have said that my home is within,
Gotcha.
maybe it's that because again, it's like, then there's no boundaries of say, if I travel to Barcelona and paint there, that could be my home as well.
Definitely. I agree.
So
Having a father and a brother that were artists in their own artistic way, in their own style,
yeah.
did you ever have to carry a burden of like, damn, these guys are super cool doing this thing. They don't understand this thing. Was it kind of like I gotta hide it? Or they was always like, look, this is what I do.
It's funny because it was just kind of what I was doing, and then they started seeing it, and then they obviously saw the trend of hip hop and all that kind of stuff. They're a little older, but then saw it as oh, this is the new trend coming. They were in the disco days and all that kind of stuff. So then they just thought that was the next phase. As far as on the art, I'm sure that them as artists as well would probably say, like, in my opinion, thinking like, man, this is some new stuff. Like you're actually doing some, like, because I'm not copying a Conan character or doing any of that stuff. I'm like, it's my own. And they're like, how'd you make that up? And that's what I was saying before that culture, hip hop culture, is like I couldn't make shit up. I didn't know. I guess I didn't have that mentality in me of like being that independent and disruptive and, again, rebel and all that kind of stuff, but then put it out in the environment.
And I'm happy that you shared that, because I'm the type of person that really, really appreciates somebody that comes up with something unique and different.
Yeah.
So like if they're doing a character of a rat, but is that rat?
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, man, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Not that I don't love a guy painting a Mickey Mouse.
Right.
But there's a difference between a guy painting a Mickey Mouse and a guy mastering his own rat. And it's kind of like, whoa, what is that over there?
Exactly.
And that's something that I really like to see and admire, because it's unique, its style is different. And I think it's important.
Yep, no, I agree. And I think that's what keeps, like every element healthy, because it's the friendly battle. It's like, in my opinion, that's how I see it. And that's how I saw the culture. It's always one-upping. Mm-hmm. Like whatever you're into, b-boying, emceeing, this and that, you're not just doing it to do it. You're doing it to one up on, like, oh, that dude's killing it. Like, fuck, man, I got to step up.
Yeah.
But I can't bite. Like, those are all the elements. Maybe fast forward to now, I can't say.
Now you can see the whole world in the palm of your hand. You know what I mean? Like,
and with AI,
yeah. Make me a cartoon character, Italy style with a little bit of Mexico style. Boom,
exactly,
here you go.
Exactly. So, I mean, again, those are the challenges. But then it's also, now it just depends on what lens you see it through. Mm-hmm. If you want that authenticity, then you'll see it in the streets. If you're just, on to the next of, like, whatever the next evolvement is, technology or whatever, then that's what it is. But again, it's premature. I mean, even back in our days of when, like, Adobe came out and was Illustrator and Photoshop, everybody was shunning that. Nah, you gotta draw.
Yeah.
But then later on, like, everyone started accepting and goes, okay, it's a tool. Like, it's not doing shit for me, but it helps me.
You still got to use your mind.
You still got to use your mind. You still got to do that. But yeah, if you're just a basic dude, you're going to be able to just use it basic. Mm-hmm. But if you're a creative dude, you can, flip it and turn it into something else.
Being a child at home, right? Absorbing hip hop. At what point do you take the initiative of, like, okay, I see the graph, I see the hip hop, I'm consuming it, but now I'm taking the step forward to, like, I want to be part of this and I want to start doing this.
Yeah.
Is there something that kind of motivated you to take that step?
Well, a funny story on that is, again, we were into the culture. We were into, like, hip hop. So we were, initially b-boying. Then my parents' family church is near Belmont Tunnels.
Okay.
So right there off of First. So my parents asked me to, like, oh, can you do, like, a b-boy performance for our church, this and that? And we're like, sure, we'll roll up. So there was, our gang rolled up over there just to, perform. But we went over that First Street Bridge, and then that's when we, like, what you told me earlier, that's when we saw our graph for the first time. Geo, Prime, all that kind of stuff. And we were just like, what is that? It's here.
Yeah.
So after we did our little performance, we went down there, checked it out. But then the thing is when you're so premature about it, like, you're in the cut. Like, shit can happen, It's just, but we were so naive and so hype into this culture that we were like, man, this is dope. We want to get into it. So that was the spark. Is again, kind of like what you said, is that when you saw it physically, then all of a sudden you're like, that's real. Like, that's possible.
Like, what is that?
Yeah, what is that? So we, like, literally started, like, again, naive and innocent, didn't know, but we're like, fuck it. We're going to start racking cans. Yeah. Just started going everywhere. Every damn hardware store, every auto shop. you know, like
I
thinking
want
that was part of the process.
I want to dive a little bit more into that experience
Mm,
because I didn't make it to Belmont Tunnel because it's way before my time.
mm.
How was it like walking in there for the very first time? Like, how was the atmosphere? How was the vibe? Was it everything friendly? Was there somebody there?
Well, what was weird is like, okay, when that first experience we did, that was when we got introduced. So that's when we saw it. So we remember that. We didn't go back there till maybe around 88. And that's when we started painting around in our area where we grew up was in Cerritos. But again, it's a suburb, so you
Yeah.
can't do stuff like that over there. They were painting it buffing it nonstop. So we finally went to LA. That's when we started going to Belmont. But the irony on that we didn't really realize is that a lot of crews were starting up at that time in around 88. So there's MAK crew, CBS, um, WCA would show up, but then UCA, like a lot of people were like new, but we didn't know. Like we thought everybody was already established, just like, but then we were the new guys coming in. So after looking back after that, I think it was just we kind of came at a perfect timing where a lot of like-minded people were kind of doing the same,
Okay.
And then to your point, when it got to like being people coming in and out, it was semi-friendly. I mean, there was nobody beefing or whatnot until it got to like a crew beef or maybe a going over beef. But then what's healthy about it is just graph. That's
Yeah.
part of it, It's like, in our opinion, is like, if we're going over someone, we definitely got to top it or burn it. But then sometimes that's not the case for other people. They just think more you went over their shit.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's like at least that yard I felt was so dope because you had that experience. You got the experience of battle, watching battles. I mean, there was the famous Hex and Slick battle that happened over there.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, we saw it all and all that kind of stuff, So, and that was actually, I think, part 2. I don't know if that was the first one or the second one because they did another one at Levitt's. But
I don't remember if part 1 was at Belmont or was it part 2?
I think the first was Belmont and
Okay.
then maybe the second at Levitt's. I'm not, but either way,
Yeah.
they did it a couple times. But again, it's more that process of like, that's where we were seeing a lot of the development of LA graph.
It's been a long time since I witnessed a battle. How was it? Like I don't know if you participated in the Belmont Tunnel battles, but just being there and watching and absorbing the talent, was that something that developed you as far as a writer?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think a lot of that, like, say, for example, when you're watching them, it's like you're trying to figure out how they're thinking. Because, I think for battles, say for an MC, it's like you got to retaliate after what somebody said to you. So it's almost like the same thing on the wall. Like, so if whoever you're battling is like throwing up I don't know, we'll just say a Mickey.
Yeah.
And then you do a Mickey getting beat up, then, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of like go back and forth like that. Or you can just be like, this is my skill. I'm going to throw this up and I'm not even care what you're doing because I'm going to hopefully devastate it, So there's different levels. It's just more of how people think. There's a lot of different mentalities out there too of how to write, how to burn, how to do this, how to do all that,
And you guys are taking a trip because I'm really familiar with Cerritos. A trip from Cerritos to Belmont is a trip.
No, it's a trip.
And was this like like you guys were just hopping on the train type thing?
Nah, we were traveling, we were just driving up, and then the funny thing is like, we would still keep tagging tagging, throwing up, bombing all the way up. So if we're up to 710 over near Bell Gardens, we'd be trying to get up over there, off the 101, all that stuff. And the other great thing is too, we're literally in the center of LA and Orange County. So people couldn't figure out where we were from because then all of a sudden we were like spread out in Orange County and bombing over there on that side. So then people were confused where we were from, but that didn't matter to us because it's like we did what we were supposed to do, just try to be all over the place.
How did you become aware of that though? Like, I know you say you went to Belmont Tunnel for the first time due to church, but at what time do you become aware of like the lingual, the secret rules? Because even there's no rules, there's secret rules, and developing like this is a bomb, this is a tag, this is a burner. How did that come into play?
It was actually just the homework of what the East Coast was doing. Like, what we did is we delved into it and really tried to dissect it, and it was like a Bible for us, because for us it was like it's not rules, but it's just more of like, what is it about, you know? And then when it comes to the West Coast, of course there might be some resistance because that's East Coast shit, that's this and that, but it's not that. It's more of, it's a cultural thing of like what it's about, you know. Like if you go to the graph side, it's like it's multiple things. It's about getting up, being known, and also killing it.
Yeah.
But then there's also levels of killing it. Like you can do ill pieces, you can do ill throw ups, or you can do burners, or you can do murals. So there's all different levels of how you can do it. But if you're a crew or an individual can do it all, fuck, man, you're a king. You can do everything. But then that's where what kind of digressed. I mean, it progressed, but digressed as far as like now it became multi-genre. Now there's like tag bangers or vandals or, you know, or true core artists or gore core artists or, you know, all this kind of stuff that like transition. But again, it's what I feel is dope, again, is at least it's showing like the different mentalities into that scene. But the challenge is that not too many people not follow rules and regulations, but more like kind of not really know the full breadth of things, you know?
And just to add a bit to that, you know, you come from a time where developing style and unique was extremely important, standing out. You were a part of the very beginning of, you know, witnessing crews. You know, a time when there's like no internet,
Right.
there's no, here's my phone, let me take a picture, or let me hop on the phone, let me see what Edit is doing.
Yeah.
It was very, very like, you know, you have to be there type thing, right? To where now it seems like everything's so easy to grab. Like you could just go on the internet and buy whatever cap or can and stuff that you want.
Right.
You know, you're coming from a time where you got to come up with a cap,
Right.
a tester cap, figure it out, make a marker, like, you know, just like build and break.
Right.
How does that carry within you now, that 2026, where it's like, damn, I come from a time where you had to like be extremely creative, you know what I mean?
Well, again, it's just parts of the roots of the culture. And I think the honesty I feel on it is, regardless of the technology and what happened, is like, you got to do that. You know, you got to understand the roots, you know, or else how can you grow? If you already start with the branches, like you cheated yourself, man.
Yeah.
But that's the hard part, again, because to your point is like what happened with technology and social media, it's too easily accessible. But the disadvantage on that is now these people claim they've done stuff that they haven't. It's only because they've claimed that they're experienced through it. But that's another great thing that you said is like, man, but you had to do all this, you had to do that. But that's what made it fun. That's what made it really dope, because nobody else knew unless you knew. You know what I mean? Like going to the underground clubs, going to all those things. It's like, nobody would know. But then when you would go there, it's like, oh, we all the knowing.
I love that part about it, because like I remember like a cat will come and he'll have like this secretive tip.
Yep.
Like when the tips are really coming in.
And hiding it and trying not to show you.
Like, bro, what is that? Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. And it's like the fun part of like, I'm going to find out, bro.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to use it now.
Exactly.
And I think it made it more fun. You know
It did. I mean, it's the thrill of the hunt. It's everything. You know, it's like, remember even, well, in our era, it's like when Krylon and they started making those crazy colors, like aqua turquoise and jungle green and all those, were like, whoa. But it was new for some people. So we would gatekeep. We would be like, oh, no, they don't have it there. Or better yet, we would rack most of it, and then like there would be nothing left.
You remember when they came out with the can that was like a blue tip, but it flared to the side so you can put a cap? That thing was annoying, bro. I was like, bro, what is this?
Try to kill the graph artist. That's what they're trying to
I was
do.
like, bro, what is this? And if you break the cap off, you can't put nothing on there because it was like a.
You know, even a great point that you just said earlier is think about early graph had no tools. Yes, it was spray can, but that was a traditional spray can. Now fast forward, like this is where I'll agree on technology. Now fast forward to technology, we have graph heads that are creating these spray cans. Now they got like low pressure. Now where you can it's almost like an airbrush.
You got transparent now.
Yeah,
You
and you
got
got
to spray
transparent
black.
paint. You got a bunch of all these great tools. And then, like you just said earlier, mad caps, all these type of caps. But then are some corny? Obviously, you know? But then again, it's like now there becomes tools. Now there comes things that can help us. But then also some that are just gimmicky to where you're just like, man, let's keep it real, you know?
The name Rich, was that your first name you came up with, or was there something prior to that?
Nah, what happened in back in the days is when we were first starting, like we were you know, just trying to pick up names. And then I think when NASA came about, it was just more like, let's pick like some crazy like space name. So I think my first one was called Orbit or something like that. And then I don't know. And then I think after that came up with Shame. And then I was like, all right, I'll run with that. But then literally after that, the second graph book came out, Spray Can Art, and then there was a Shame. So I was like, man, I can't keep thinking of, I can't figure out any acronyms or any of that stuff anymore. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just say my name, you know? And then if anyone tries to say anything about that, I'm like, well, that's my name. So I don't know what to tell you. You want to battle me for my name? Let's go.
You're going to pay to change my name.
You know? So, I mean, it became something like that. And at the end of the day, it just kind of stuck, you know?
Diving into NASA, how did that come about for you?
All right. Well, to backtrack a little bit, we didn't even like think of that name or nothing. But my ex-girlfriend at the time, she just blurted it out. She's like, "Why don't you guys call yourself NASA?" And we were just like, "Okay, that sounds cool." But then we were like, "What does it stand for?" So then my boy, he was writing Shy, but now he writes Whitey. He was good at acronyms, so then he started coming up with all these different acronyms, and I think one of the first ones that stuck was No Art Survives After. I think what was dope about it is like, it was basically like answering any questions. Like, what do you mean? What art survives? Like, no art survives after what we do, you know, type of thing. So it was a dope way of us, again, trying to even be different in the scene, you know, like everybody was either a 3-letter crew or everyone was kind of saying more, you know, on the top or kings or any of that stuff. And I think with ours, it just made it feel like quotes, like our crew now is like a saying, you know, like then after that, like nasty artist strike again, not a simple advertisement, you know, like it's cool things that now we can say with our crew. And then also the way we represent it is, now that we said we're NASA, okay, now let's act like we're not from here. Now let's act like we're from outer space. And now let's now do our graph and do our have our mentality be that way. Yes, there's this graph, and yes, that's what we're using. But then now we're like aliens doing hieroglyphic graph. And then for me, that's where I even expanded. Like, okay, now I'm gonna make my characters like beyond characters. You know, like they're almost like characters with letters, and then like arrows coming out of their eyeballs and that kind of stuff. But it looks like a transformation of an alien or something like that. So it just, for us as a crew, it all made us just more like, be more creatively open beyond the graffiti scene. Yes, there's a graffiti scene, but then how do we now implement something crazier in this scene?
Gotcha. Did you ever feel like NASA had to work a bit more harder to fit into the LA scene just because you guys weren't from like LA, you guys were from Cerritos? Did you guys ever feel that way?
Yes, for sure.
How was it maneuvering that?
Well, I think the other great thing for us mentality-wise is we didn't care if we were getting, painted over or dissed or anything like that. I think our mentality was just, our objective is just to get up. And then obviously document it, so at least you have it documented in pictures. You know, that's all that everyone shares anyways at the end of the day. I think the lifespan of your piece is just, it is a great part, because then it becomes like a landmark type of thing if it survives for that long or however, you know. But even in our early days, it was kind of like that, where I felt like our art wasn't so typical. So then people just thought it was just like, that's not graph or
It's
whatever,
not LA style.
or LA style or
Yeah.
any of that stuff. So they would go over us, but then we would just keep moving on and not even trip. Like we weren't trying to, not necessarily battle anyone or anything like that or any of that. I mean, we would if that was the case. Like if you want to battle, let's battle. You know, like it's part of the culture. You know,
Yeah.
but I think in general it was just more of, we get it and we just want to do what we do. And I guess it's more of like not even worry about the drama because all we're doing is just we're art and that's what everybody else is doing. But then fast forward to that is then like all the artists that were doing all that in those early days like now gave us respect. You know, they were like when they see us later, they're like, man, you guys still killing it. You guys are still fucking doing crazy shit. You guys are still like doing NASA stuff, you know? And that's where I felt like what made it dope for us as a crew is at least we stood out being what we wanted to be.
You know, you being dedicated to your craft, right? You know, life gets in the way sometimes, you know, things could happen, you know, kids or whatnot, you know.
Mm.
For you, how do you balance that out? Like still being devoted to this, but then I'm still gotta be this guy.
Yeah,
How do you balance those together to where they're balanced out?
yeah. Maybe they're kind of, maybe in my opinion, they're kind of two different things.
Hmm.
I think, you know, because I think to be into the art thing, it's not a family thing. I mean, it would be dope that all of us get up,
Yeah.
but it's not that. So I think, to your point, you're right. There is a balance of like now there's a family thing, but and there's a graph or a subculture thing, and then you know me and my wife, yeah, we're subcultured, and then we saw it like go down to our kids, you know, and then we didn't force feed it on them, but not they can see a lot of great things through again that subculture lens that makes them a little bit more unique. So maybe it's that. I think it actually was more embracing and then trying to, for me, try to use that subculture because that's what I liked about it to get a different perspective and a
Yeah.
different view. So maybe that's the answer. Then when raising them, at least they were getting that.
Like, they'd be like, Dad, you know what's up. You don't even know. Right?
Well, that was funny. I mean, geez, man, it's like what was crazy even for graph for me is like even when it came to like the work industry or doing that kind of stuff, it got me into a lot of crazy things. You know, it's like my first job was like Northrop Grumman, and I was just designing like the kiosk screens behind the
Oh, wow.
airplanes. But then like the funny story on that is that like there were contract jobs. So then like I would spend like 6 months like twiddling my thumbs, just bored as hell. But for a creative, that's like hell.
Yeah.
But for like workers that want money for free, they're just like, yeah, this is the best. So then luckily, then the action sports market, I went to Vision Streetwear because then graffiti influenced, started t-shirts and all that stuff started happening, especially in the surf and skate industry. And that was kind of the early streetwear days. So went to Vision, started doing graphics for everything, but that unfortunately, but fortunately, he was like a workhorse and forced me to design like snow boots and skate shoes, and this is stuff I've never done. But then again, I was so confident only because of that hip hop culture and the way I was designing through graph, and I was just utilizing that and into those categories that I felt was unique and different.
So
And
you
it
design
helped.
shoes.
Yeah, so I designed shoes. So then after that, I got recruited at Vans, and they wanted me to design snowboard boots. So I was starting to now traject to a whole different thing. And then from there, like created the whole snow boot line for Vans, and then like again, it's like where I pat myself on the back. This is crazy. I'm doing these products, but then I'm telling them it was the influence of graph, and they're like, "But I don't get it. Like you're painting walls, and then you're doing shoes." And I go, "Dude, when I'm designing that shoe, I'm thinking like it's like a piece.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. So then And it keeps going from there. Just went into that, still into the action sports. And then with Vans, just kept trying to take things to the next level, innovate, and do some technical stuff. But it wasn't for them. You know, Vans is more traditional, heritage and whatnot. So again, as a creative, you're just like, damn,
I need to let it out.
So then me and a couple homies from Vans, we left and started our own brand. It was catered to the skate scene at the time. It was called Force Militia. And then again, we changed the game in the skate scene for what we were doing, you know? But what happened is within that year of us starting to blow up is we had issues with a partner that was basically using embezzle money to you know,
to fund
the brand. We called him out, and then he goes, "All right, this is what we got to say." And I'm like, "Nope, I'm out of here. I'm not gonna be part of none of that." So learn that lesson, and then started Creative Rec. So from there, we started that in 2002, and then that became finally a successful shoe brand. And then what I loved about that again is like, man, this is so dope. We got I got my own brand, and then again, I just attacked it like with a graph mentality. I was like, I'm gonna design these shoes like it's a piece, and then I'm gonna color it like it's a piece.
Yeah.
So then that's where I was getting away with like coloring like shoes like Neapolitan color, you know, like just aqua green, like all the
and this is all self-taught?
Yeah. This was just all self-taught, but I really big it up to this hip hop subculture because it was the way it made you think. It made you think out the box.
Yeah.
You know, so again, for me to design shoes, like shoe designers were hitting me and they're like, how the hell are you doing that shit? And I'm going, I go, it's through my graffiti. And they're like, no way, I don't get it. What do you mean? And I tell them that you know, that scenario, and they don't get it. But a graph artist will get it. They'll be like, oh shit, that's how you did that.
Yeah.
You know? But that's the point, you know? And then after that, it's like, how does that tie into the graph scene? It's like, look at the graffiti. It's like either bright colors or it's either like dull colors or it's whatever the case may be. But now you got shoes that are like that.
What is, in your opinion, what is the shoe that you designed that's the most impactful, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, the one that got popular, it was called Cesario. It had a toe strap, and our logo was like CR with wings and stuff like that. So it was cool, you know, for the time. And then we also, again, created a niche in the footwear industry, and it was like lifestyle, like a lifestyle category. Because before that, it was either sport or like dress. So it was either like a rubber shoe or it was a leather shoe, but there was nothing kind of in between.
I kind of remember that because like back then you wouldn't go inside Foot Locker and see Vans.
Yep.
Now you go to Foot Locker and they got all these Vans. I'm like, whoa, what happened over here?
Exactly. Well, it's lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, now it became like
popular.
Yeah. And also it's like a lifestyle category now takes it away from sport or takes it away from work.
Gotcha.
It now becomes like a fashion thing.
Because I remember like people like Osiris were dropping graffiti shoes.
Yep.
I remember those Osiris's, the DBS's. That they had a run.
Yep. And it's even funny you said that because now fast forward to now, it's like now the luxury brands are knocking them off, trying to make them the same.
Yeah.
So again, it's like culturally what we're saying and what we're doing, and then all of a sudden they try to jump in it, but then also at the same time, if it wasn't for us putting it out in the universe, stuff would have never happened.
I wanted to dive into Cerritos, bro, just because I'm really familiar with the city.
Okay.
Coming up, was there anything out there aside of you guys?
No, and that's the irony. It's funny because it's like Cerritos has a lot of great talent that came out of there, but it had nothing to do with it. The city had nothing to do with it. It was more funnier because, again, I think it's more of like we were more the rebelling type. So again, if we were tagging, like the police were trying to look for us. Like we had wanted posters all over the Cerritos library and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was weird. So for us, it's like, okay, we're not accepted. So that's, you know, to your point, what you said is what made you start going to LA or branching off. We couldn't do it in our hood. And as obviously we shouldn't be doing it there because it's too suburban, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what made us pioneer. I think that was the bigger thing that a lot of the people from Cerritos that were successful, which is ironically, they're all my friends. Like we've all grew up together, we've all done that stuff. But then what I felt was happening is what I've been preaching is just like we all got into that subculture. We all started thinking that way. So even though if we're living in the suburbs, we're trying to think more of street mentality, street ethics, street code, and how does that work and stuff like that. Were we like struggling? Were we this and that? No, but we were trying to be at least more authentic in what we were trying to do on this rebellious kind of stuff.
Got you.
So
Yeah, because I know now, I mean, there's stuff through the freeways, there through the 605 and the 91.
yeah,
You'll see all kinds of stuff over there. And
yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like, I check it out from time to time.
yeah.
I wanted to ask you about this picture that they sent to me about West Coast Rocksteady.
Oh man. So again, that was like one of the like really pinnacle eras of West Coast at the time. Like graffiti was like striving, b-boy was striving, and then and b-boy summit kind of like brought all that stuff in. They were kind of showing that stuff, and then it pulled like Rocksteady over here, to kind of see what was going on. But the part again, it was bridging gaps of West Coast and East Coast. So then like Graham at the time, he was already a Rocksteady member from the West Coast, and then was kind of like telling the crew like, let's make a West Coast chapter. So from there they kind of just pulled a lot of people in. I think what was cool about it is like he saw it. They saw it more of like a network, like a bigger network. It wasn't just all b-boys. It was like b-boys, MCs, like graph artists, all that kind of stuff. But then what was ill is then made that utilize all that for the West Coast and East Coast. So with that is like, for me, on my part is like it connected me and Qbert. So I did like his first breakbeat album. And then from what I hear, it's like one of the most successful, like, it's like a Bible for the DJs. And then, I'm blessed that I was the one that got to do the album cover for it. But it was through a Rocksteady Connect. And it was just dope because it was a lot of networking and connecting of a lot of West Coast people. But then early and young, at the time, there was Iceman, and then there was like Rocka, and then look, they fast forward and then becomes like Dilated Peoples. We were also doing studio stuff with QD3 at the time, so it was just it was just amazing time to just kind of be part of.
And I mean, obviously, you made it to the hip hop shop.
Of course.
I just recently seen footage of the hip hop shop, bro.
Yeah.
And to me, I was just watching it and I was like, I was stoked.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
How was it? You being there, you know what I mean? Because that was way before my time.
I mean, again, I think what was really ill is just to see West Coast hip hop culture start striving. Like again, for Hex to start hip hop shop, and then then there was like another one over in Funky Revolution on Santa Ana. So like there was a lot of like cultural stuff that was happening.
Oh, Santa Ana had their own hip hop shop.
Yeah. So like everyone was kind of striving and doing that thing. So that's what I love to see, that it became a subculture. So then for us to even sell our graffiti inspired shirts and stuff like that, now there became outlets. There were all these hip hop or streetwear kind of shops that now can represent and expand that culture.
I seen that shop that thing opened down the street from the hip hop shop. I think it was called Beat Nonstop. Was that like the similar thing, or what was going on over there?
Well, that was, I think, a little more catered to just music.
Okay.
But then like hip hop was part of it, but then there was all types of different kind of music. But I think that was where that was more geared to. But yes, they would have all the hip hop records, all that kind of stuff. But where like these other like hip hop shops were cultural, like they were selling gear, spray cans, blah blah blah, caps, like anything in that culture. So.
I think it's fun and energetic that the guys from the East Coast came and accepted you guys rather than be like, nah, we started that.
Yeah.
Just stop taking from us. You know what I mean? I think that's fun and energetic.
Yeah. Well, and I also think that again they saw that it was like, man, this can be worldwide, and then and we can bridge the gap and create that network. And I thought that was dope, you know. And it was amazing. It was amazing times because looking back, it was just like didn't realize that a lot of us were gonna end up doing stuff.
You're just a kid, you know,
You're just
having,
kids.
having
You're
fun.
just, yeah, just having fun, but being part of this culture, you know.
And do you still stay connected with the guys from the hip hop shop?
I mean, not really, but I mean, again, it's like everyone, like you said earlier, like, you know, everyone ventures off and does their things. But again, at least the thing that we all see is like it was part of our journey, a lot of our journeys, you know.
What a time to be alive.
Oh, man. Definitely, definitely.
And there was a lot of graph on the alleys too at that time.
Oh, Melrose was cracking, you know, like everywhere. Like, I mean, we used to go to like Santa Fe Yard, and there was like, man, now I'm blanking out. Motor Yard, man, like there's so many. But then like it was dope because like it would be like a West Side Yard, it'd be an East Side Yard, you know, it'd be a Mid City Yard or stuff like that.
But it was always love, right? Like, hey, yo, what's up? This is Wooty Whoop. This is Wooty Whoop. And all right, do your thing type thing. Or was it kind of like, hey, get out my yard?
Nah, I mean it was love, but then you would at least know that like say a KSN was on the West Side and the STNs were on the East Side. I mean, you kind of know where the crews were from. Which ironically, no one knew where we were from.
Yeah, bro, we're from wherever.
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think that was cool. Again, it's just more of like, for us, I get it. And again, there is the only difference again is like seeing an East Coast culturized and then a West Coast. There is differences. So to kind of adapt to certain things, it's a little different. You know, like with the West Coast, it's, you know, every hood is a hood, you know, and it's protection for that, you know. And it's similar, I guess, to East Coast. It's boroughs are boroughs. And I think they go through the same thing, you know. I think, but maybe the street code flag that you have is you're a graph artist compared to you're a gang, you know.
Gotcha.
So
you guys also painted in air graphics, right, in Long Beach?
that's actually Just's thing that he was doing with earning them. Yeah.
That's the name of the shop, right? It was called Air Graphics?
I think so, yeah, Airgraph.
In Long Beach.
Is that right, Just?
I think it was.
Oh, okay, my bad. It was DC.
Yeah.
What was yours?
I remember
Masterpiece. Yeah, heard of you remember that one?
that was a long time ago, bro. I was a kid, bro. I was like in middle school at that time.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Dang, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Word.
Subway Art, the book itself.
Yeah.
Was that something impactful for you coming up?
Of course, it was the Bible.
Yeah.
And I think it was a Bible for everyone because it really exposed that culture to us. And it even kind of showed like the layers of it as well. You know, you saw from ill tagging styles to ill throw up styles to janky ones to whatever. But I think the point is that everyone, it was the styles. Like everyone had a different style, you know? Was it kind of like calling out the borough or calling out where they're from or this and that? Maybe some, you know, got influenced and there's a little bit of kind of similarities or whatnot. But, you know, I think at the end of the day is what made it healthy is just,
I love that idea though of like having to own a book to kind of see what's going on. You know what I mean? Like the whole idea of like I actually got to flip a book.
Yeah.
I think I really enjoy that idea because now it's kind of like,
yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, and it's
You're
like there's no nostalgia there,
right?
Because it's like it's in my pocket,
right?
Where like now, I don't know. I feel like it's good energy, you know, just seeing that and
or like I don't know if you've seen Star Wars.
Yeah.
Seen that. So like when you're watching that and look at those eras of like them waiting for that train to come by. Remember, they're all like waiting at that line and like, oh, this is it. Like how excited they were getting, you know? That's my point. It's like those are the things that in our early times that's what we were experiencing, like all that newness that we were implementing out there. And then like, yeah, we did that stuff.
And I think that's something that graffiti fulfills in many where like a lot of people come from, you know, messed up homes, messed up environments. And this is that one thing where you feel like I'm at ease.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that I belong to.
Yeah.
Because especially in LA, you got to either pick or they're going to choose for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You are right.
So you got to make your decision.
Yeah.
There's no, hey, I'm minding my own business
Yeah.
because it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the fulfillment of graffiti that gives many. And it's like you build a bond with people all over the world.
Yeah.
Literally, like you
Yeah.
could end up anywhere. I'm so and so. Oh, I know so and so. You know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it.
It is. It is. Again, it's created a culture now it's ours.
Yeah.
You know, it's not mainstream, but it's universal. That's what's so cool. You know, like think of the early days of like when you're trading flicks,
Mailing them in.
mailing them in. But then that's how dope it was because it was intimate. It was more like you're meeting people abroad and then you're trading flicks with them. It's like almost trading cards.
You
know?
mailed me the wrong one. Oh, I got you.
I already got doubles of that.
I remember the cameras when you had to go
Yep. Exactly.
and hope you got it right.
And think about that, stitching them together, you're just taping them. You know, it's like compared to now, you can Photoshop them and do all that kind of stuff. But again, it's a lot of different nuances in the early stages is what made it like roots. You know, roots. It's that's all part of it, man.
You being an elder writer, does it ever bother you, like a newer guy, maybe just coming in or a couple years in, not recognize what you have done for the culture?
That's a good one, but for me, no. Only for the fact that at least what in my opinion, at least for what I did, as long as I put it out in the universe, it's there. You know, it's there for them to enjoy or not see it or any of that kind of stuff. I always like have thought that, you know, being blessed with a creative, you know, a creative outlet and whatnot is like I'm gonna utilize it and I'm gonna do as much as I can and die empty. You know.
You know, because I know a lot of, not a lot, but some younger guys kind of feel like, well, I'm trying to be part of these shows and I'm trying to be part of this, but
Yeah.
I can't get in, and it's like I think it's a stepping stone. You know, like for you, you've done your work,
Yeah.
so the work speaks for itself,
Yeah.
and people are gonna be like, oh, that's Rich.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about him, type thing. Mentorship, is mentorship important in you, and did you have mentorship?
I think mentorship super important. I think that's what's missing now. I think a lot of them are trying to think that they know compared to just being mentored. And it's not like a mentorship of kissing ass. It's just a mentorship of just like steering you the right way or what you've gone through that you won't have to go through. You know what I mean? But it's always a process, and I think that's what mentorship means for people. It's like if you want to like really know the process, learn and know. You know, like if we're looking at music, for example, it's like look at the hip hop culture. Hip hop beats wasn't hip hop; it was jazz. It was, you know, snippets from disco. It was this and that. But then that's what they did. They challenged themselves and turned it into that. It turned to a hip hop beat. You know, that's what I think is unique about that culture that we're in. It's like there's no boundaries. You know, we can do whatever. Like DJs were manipulating turntables.
Yeah.
Like they didn't make turntables to do that. We did that. Clothes, same shit. Before streetwear came out, these kids were customizing their clothes. They were rocking Kangos, Gazelles, Lee jeans pressed, and bomb jackets.
You couldn't go to the mall and buy it.
You can go to the mall and buy it, but better yet, it's also like what you said earlier. They had to hand make those things, hand paint them themselves, do all that kind of stuff. Even if you
buckle,
the buckles and all that. So again, it's like even looking at that time, it was like look at like them trying to be individual, you know, and then speak in that culture, speak in that language, you know, like they created a hip hop look, you know.
Man, I remember getting a Newmark turntable, saving up some dollars for a Newmark turntable because I seen that guy scratching. I'm gonna figure it out, bro. I'm gonna figure it out.
Yep.
He got all these records, and I'm just like trying to figure out how to cut.
Yeah.
And I'm right there stuck, and I think it's the beauty of it again, like just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then you got it, and you're like, ooh, Now we got something here.
And again, the same thing like what you just said. It's like, okay, you're trying to figure it out, but what if you stumble across like a crazy scratch thing
Yeah.
and that nobody's done? Like, you never know. That's the point. It's like a lot of these things you're just doing it to do it, and then you hear something coming out of it. Same thing when we're painting, same thing when you're emceeing, same thing when you're b-boying. Like when you b-boy, it's like, for example, it's like there's certain things that you already want to just kind of do, but then when you're on battle mode, all of a sudden you're not thinking of that no more. You're just like, I don't know what I'm about to do. Well, it better be better than whoever that is.
I gotta figure it out.
I gotta figure it out. There you go.
Have you had the opportunity to travel to paint? And if you have, what is one of the most places that kind of like you think about? Like, damn, I got to paint there and do this.
Well, I guess it was funny. Ironically, it was just last year. I mean, I've been around and painted in some decent spots, but I think last year what was kind of cool is invited to paint in China.
Whoa!
In Chengdu. So what happened is they invited us because they were having a 10-year, was it? I think a 10-year anniversary of hip hop in China.
Oh, so they have a culture for hip hop there.
Yes, and that's what we were
Whoa.
tripping on. And they had a museum that was kind of showing the timeline of how it got down and stuff, and even how they emulated, Western culture. And it was like, I guess what made it kind of interesting, because again, it's like here we are going to a communist, country, and then again, it's like, but the cool thing is like, hip hop isn't Western culture; it's a subculture.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I understood that they can get down, because again, it's like now they're not thinking of their culture. They're not thinking of communist culture. They're thinking of subculture. How can I get down into this hip hop? How can I be an individual? How can I do these things? So that's what was cool that I kind of learned from seeing that. And then after that is just being able to paint there and then show and prove. It was like new to them. I mean, there's artists, there's graph artists out there.
There's Chinese bombers?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Not necessarily bombing, because it's hardcore over there.
Oh,
If you
okay.
get caught, you'll.
But legal stuff.
Yeah, legal, and they'll be illegal, but then kind of.
You don't want to get
you didn't know they did it.
You don't want to get your pinky chopped off.
Any of that stuff. But again, it's just really dope, because like you're seeing them emulate that culture.
That's crazy. I did not know China had a movement.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. They're into it. Like even the rappers or MCs, they do their thing. They make gear. They do the whole nine. They're really embedded in it.
I got two last questions for you. One, what is next for Rich 2026?
As seen in the future. Actually, yeah, I'm saying this is a brand I'm currently doing right now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a passion play of what I've been through. Why I call it As Seen in the Future is because when I was designing and doing a lot of things, like a lot of people would tell me, man, the stuff you do is too futuristic. So I got to a point of like, okay, bet, I like that. So let me create a brand now that claims that. So I just thought of As If, and then the acronym for that was As Seen in the Future.
So stay on the lookout for that. Where can they find it?
It's online, asseeninthefuture.com. You can check it out from there, and same handle for Instagram.
Last question I got for you. For any young girl or young boy out there that's scribbling in the black book right now, listening to this, trying to get better, trying to be the best they can, what can you say to them?
Man, when you get into it, first implement your creativity into it. And then first understand that culture, understand what it's about, and then after that, implement your creativity into it, because it has room for it. But you also have to understand what it's about. Like, you can't do a Hello Kitty and think you're hardcore.
Yeah.
But maybe, as long as you do it dope, you never know. But again, it's like, at least know that,
And that is harder. Everything and anything has been under the sun has been done. So
and it has been done. You're right.
So
and then there's also been, again, a transition of now street art, where it's now, not battling, but now there's artists coming in and doing murals and doing that. But then now it's considered street art. So then it's kind of like been more accepted than graffiti art, where graffiti is like a street culture. But yes, I get it. There's vandalism, there's this and that involved into it. But then also, that was what originated all that stuff.
I would like to see the companies involved more, like the spray paint companies, the marker
I
companies.
mean, they do a decent job. There's some that do, but again, I think what happens is it becomes a challenge for them. You know, it's really tough.
Financially.
That and also acceptance. Like, how do you do a big event, you know, on spray cans and everyone's painting and this and that, and then every like outsider just see it as like, oh man, this is a crazy vandal scene, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what would have been dope is like I'll do an event on at the towers.
Sponsored by
Yeah, sponsored by this development company.
Again, brother, I wanna thank you for stopping by and giving me a little bit of your time.
You.
I really appreciate you. Is there anybody out there you would like to give a shout out to before we get out of here?
Jeez, man. Shout outs to all the crews that are out there, man, representing. Please keep it moving. Keep the fucking the subculture alive. Younger or older generation, it doesn't matter. As long as we just keep it moving, let's do it.
Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out our official collaboration with New Era on our Got No Control fitted cap exclusive drop. Also, make sure to head over to gotnocontrol.com and check out our official merchandise. Let me know in the comments below, who do you want to see next on the podcast? I know I get a lot of messages. I'm going to try my best to make it happen. Let me know in the comments. It's nothing but love. Thank you guys. Till next time.